In this video, we'll go over subdomain 2 to 14 about physical security and our way to build a strong cybersecurity posture. When it comes to physical security, it's important to have measures in place to protect your organization's information and technology assets from unauthorized access, loss, theft, and damage. This includes things like locking up server rooms and data centers, using surveillance cameras, and controlling access to sensitive areas with keycard or biometric systems. Control 2-14-1. To meet the ECC requirements for physical security, it's important to first define, document and approve your cybersecurity requirements for physical protection. This should include details on what types of assets need to be protected, who is responsible for protecting them, and what types of measures will be used. Control 2-142. Once these requirements have been defined, they need to be implemented. This can involve things like installing security cameras, locking doors, and setting up access controls. It's important to be sure that all employees are aware of the physical security measures in place, and that they understand the importance of protecting the organization's information and technology assets. Regularly review, assess and update the physical security measures and document those actions are important to keep the protection level up to date and meet the standards. It's also important to keep in mind that physical security is an ongoing process, and it's important to regularly review and assess the measures in place to ensure that they're still effective and that any new risks or vulnerabilities have been taken into account. Control 2-143. For 2-143-1, which is focused on ensuring that only authorized individuals have access to sensitive areas within an organization. This is an important aspect of physical security because it helps to prevent unauthorized individuals from accessing sensitive information or equipment that could be used to launch cyber attacks. One way to achieve this is by implementing access controls, such as security cameras, keycard or biometric systems, or security guards. These controls can help to ensure that only authorized individuals are able to enter sensitive areas. Another important aspect is to have an access list that should be reviewed and updated regularly to ensure that only authorized individuals have access. Another important aspect is to have a strict policy for visitors management. Also, it is important to ensure that all employees are aware of the physical security policies and procedures, and understand their role in maintaining physical security. This can be done through regular training and awareness programs. Additionally, it's important to have regular audits of the physical security measures in place to identify any areas where improvements can be made. This can be done by conducting regular walk-throughs of the organization's facilities, and reviewing security logs to identify any patterns of unauthorized access. Overall, a comprehensive approach that includes technology, policies, procedures, employee training and awareness, and regular audits is necessary to ensure that only authorized individuals have access to sensitive areas within the organization. For 2-143-2, in terms of physical security, it's important to have a system in place for monitoring and recording who enters and exits a facility. This can be done through the use of CCTV cameras and access controls, such as keycard or biometric systems. These systems can help to deter unauthorized access and provide a record of who was present in the facility at any given time. This can be especially important in the event of a security incident, as it can help to identify who may have been involved. For CCTV monitoring, you can use cameras with the ability to record and store footage. There are a variety of different types of cameras available, such as dome cameras, bullet cameras, and pan-tilt-zoom (PTZ) cameras, each with their own unique features and capabilities. It's important to choose cameras that are appropriate for the environment in which they will be used and that provide clear and detailed footage. When it comes to access controls, there are several different options available, such as keycard systems, biometric systems, and intercom systems. Keycard systems use a card or fob that is presented to a reader to gain access to a facility. Biometric systems, on the other hand, use a person's unique physical characteristics, such as fingerprints or facial recognition, to grant or deny access. Intercom systems provide a two-way communication between the person at the door and the person inside the building, allowing them to verify who is requesting access. Additionally, it's important to have a system in place for recording and storing the data collected by these systems. This can be done through the use of software that is specifically designed for this purpose, such as a Security Information and Event Management (SIEM) system. This type of software can help to analyze the data and alert security personnel to any potential security incidents or anomalies. Overall, it's important to have a comprehensive and well-planned physical security strategy in place that includes measures such as CCTV monitoring, access controls, and visitor management to ensure the protection of the organization's data and information and its employees. For Control 2.14.3.3, physical security is an important aspect of protecting an organization's assets, including its data and information. One key aspect of physical security is the protection of entry and exit points to the facility, as well as the surveillance records that are used to monitor those points. To meet the ECC requirement of 2.14.3.3, an organization should have measures in place to protect the entry and exit points to its facility. This might include things like security cameras, access controls, such as key cards or biometric scanners, and security personnel. These measures should be designed to prevent unauthorized access to the facility and to detect and deter any attempted breaches. This might include things like video footage from security cameras, access logs, and other records that are used to track who is entering and exiting the facility. These records should be kept secure and should only be accessible to authorized personnel. To meet this requirement, an organization might consider implementing a video management system, VMS, to record and store footage from security cameras. This system should be configured to retain footage for at least 30 days or depends on your requirement and be accessible to authorized personnel. Additionally, the organization should have a process in place to handle incidents that may occur at the entry and exit points. This process should be documented in the incident response plan and should include steps for how to handle, investigate, and report any incidents that occur. It is important to note that physical security is not a one-time event, but rather an ongoing process that requires regular monitoring, review, and updating to ensure that the organization's assets are protected at all times. 2.14.3.4 Secure destruction and reuse of physical assets that hold classified information is an important control to ensure the confidentiality and integrity of the organization's data and information. When physical assets such as documents or storage media are no longer needed, they must be securely destroyed to prevent unauthorized access to the information they contain. This can be achieved by using methods such as shredding, pulping, or degaussing. It's important that the destruction process is done in a way that meets industry standards, such as the National Cybersecurity Authority, NCA, standards for media destruction. Also, you can refer to NIST SP 800-209 security guidelines for storage infrastructure. In terms of reuse, it's important to have a process in place to sanitize physical assets before they are reused. This can be done by using software tools that overwrite the entire storage area multiple times, making it impossible to recover any data from the storage media. It's also important to have a chain of custody for the physical assets, so that the organization can ensure that the assets are securely sanitized before being reused. For example, for a storage media like hard disk drive, you can use software tool called Derek's Boot and Nuke, which overwrites the entire storage area multiple times. It makes it impossible to recover any data from the storage media. In terms of physical document, you can use a cross-cut shredder that is designed to shred paper into small particles, so that the information on the paper cannot be reconstructed. It's also important to have a process in place to track the destruction of the documents, so that the organization can prove that they were securely destroyed. 2.14.3.5 Physical security is an important aspect of overall cybersecurity, as it helps to protect the organization's assets and infrastructure from physical threats such as theft, sabotage, and natural disasters. One of the key components of physical security is the security of devices and equipment inside and outside the organization's facilities. This can include measures such as securing equipment in locked rooms or cabinets, implementing surveillance systems to monitor access to equipment, and implementing security protocols for the removal of equipment from the organization's facilities. To secure devices and equipment, it is important to have a clear understanding of the organization's assets and where they are located. This can be done by conducting regular inventory checks and keeping detailed records of the location, type, and status of equipment. It's also important to have policies and procedures in place for the handling and transport of equipment, including guidelines for the secure storage and handling of portable devices such as laptops and mobile devices. In terms of technology and tools, organization can use CCTV cameras, access control systems, and intrusion detection systems to monitor and secure their facilities. Additionally, organizations can use tracking and inventory management software to keep track of their equipment and to ensure that it's being used and stored properly. It's also important to consider the physical security of equipment located outside of the organization's facilities, such as equipment at remote offices or data centers. This can include measures such as implementing security protocols for the installation and maintenance of equipment, and ensuring that all equipment is properly secured and protected from physical threats such as theft and natural disasters. Overall, the key is to have a comprehensive physical security plan in place, which includes regular assessments, testing, and monitoring of the organization's physical security measures, in order to ensure that the organization's assets and infrastructure are protected from physical threats. Here is an example of tools used for physical security, such a list. Access control systems. These systems are used to control who has access to a facility. They can include technologies such as key cards, biometric scanners, and smart locks. Examples of vendors include HID Global, Suprema, and Honeywell. Surveillance cameras. These cameras are used to monitor activity in and around a facility. They can include technologies such as IP cameras, PTZ cameras, and thermal cameras. Examples of vendors include Axis Communications, Hikvision, and Avigilon. Intrusion detection systems. These systems are used to detect when someone or something has entered a facility without authorization. They can include technologies such as motion detectors, door contacts, and glass break detectors. Examples of vendors include Bosch Security Systems, Honeywell, and ADT. Fire suppression systems. These systems are used to extinguish fires in a facility. They can include technologies such as sprinkler systems, foam systems, and gas suppression systems. Environmental monitoring systems. These systems are used to monitor conditions such as temperature, humidity, and water leaks in a facility. They can include technologies such as temperature sensors, humidity sensors, and water leak detection sensors. Examples of vendors include RLE Technologies, Synapse, and TripLight. Please note that this is not a comprehensive list, and other tools and technology also exist in the market. To conclude the physical protection of information and technology assets, it's important to review the implemented controls and measures periodically. This includes conducting physical security assessments, reviewing access control logs, and testing the effectiveness of security systems. It's also important to ensure that all employees are aware of physical security policies and procedures, and that they understand the importance of protecting information and technology assets. Additionally, it's a good practice to conduct regular training sessions for employees to update them on best practices for physical security and to address any new threats or vulnerabilities that have emerged. It's also important to stay up to date with any new regulations or standards related to physical security, and to ensure that the organization is in compliance with them. Overall, regular review and update of physical security measures is necessary to adapt to changing threat landscape, to ensure that all assets are protected and to maintain compliance with regulations.